Brad will have some good news for us. Brad?
Toby, how about 5 degrees less hot? Because that's what I think it's going to be tomorrow. Today we challenged the record of 96 degrees, originally set back in 1913. It remains the record tonight because temperature up at Windsor Locks made it to 95 this afternoon. In the city, 97 degrees, and if the heat's not bad enough, oppressive humidity levels as well. Near the shoreline, temperature near 90. These clouds here represent a dry front that's moving in our direction. Lower humidity tomorrow. Wake-up weather calls for clearing skies and very warm. Temperatures rising to near 90 again. Full forecast later, but now back to Joanne.
Okay, Brad. Residents concerned about a Wallingford Railroad crossing that has claimed the lives of 2 people within the past month may finally be seeing some action. Temporary gates may be up before the end of September, and as Juliet Meas reports, that swift action may in part be due to the work of a Branford woman.
This sign posted here at the Tully's Road crossing this weekend has fallen the way of many such calls for action at this crossing over the years. But this latest call for gates at an intersection where 2 people have died in accidents within the past month has gotten louder in the past 2 weeks, in part thanks to a Branford woman who's been circulating petitions urging Governor O'Neill to have crossing gates installed.
I feel it's very important to let the state know that people are concerned, they're worried, and they consider this situation a crisis that needs emergency service.
2,500 people have signed the petition, and although Winnick hasn't done anything with them yet, she thinks the word is getting around, and already action is being taken. Today, Wallingford Mayor William Dickinson met with the town council chairman about closing Tully's Road until gates are installed. Dickinson says that closing the road isn't feasible, but he says today he contacted the State Department of Transportation about putting up temporary gates.
The DOT is interested and willing to review the placement of temporary gates on the detour crossing that will have to be put in place prior to the crossing we now know, prior to its being upgraded.
But that detour probably won't be ready for at least a month, and in the meantime, this crossing will remain largely unprotected.
You should have addressed this first, because people will be passing on this road first, and therefore people will be waiting and fatalities will be happening.
Still, Winnick says she's encouraged that construction of the crossing gates should be starting within a month. That's significantly sooner than originally planned.
But Winnick says she's not taking anything for granted. She says she'll be back here in a month, and if the gates aren't up, she and her petitions will head straight for the governor's office. In Wallingford, Juliet Meas, Connecticut News Tonight.
Hartford has a new city council member tonight. Maria Gonzalez was sworn in to finish the term of Nancy Melendez. Melendez moved out of the state earlier in the year. Gonzalez was the choice of Hartford's Democratic Town Committee to fill that spot, and she'll run as part of that team in the fall for a 2-year term.
Former Hartford State Senator Wilbur Smith says the story is over tonight following his victory at the Connecticut Supreme Court today in a libel case dating back to 1979. The High Court today reversed an appellate court ruling that Smith made a controversial remark about former Hartford Assistant City Manager Michael Brown with malicious intent. The justices said the appeals court improperly conducted its review. Smith tonight said the case should never have been brought in the first place.
Here is that when it comes to public officials, including myself, I was lambasted so often in my public life. People lied on me. People committed fraud against me. People did many, many things, but I know that once you take a public position such as I had, if you get in the kitchen, you got to stand the heat.
Smith called Brown a Ku Klux Klan sympathizer during a 1979 radio talk show. Brown had claimed the remark damaged his reputation. Brown could not be reached for comment tonight.
Well, still ahead, the last surviving top Nazi leader died today in Berlin.
And coming up a little bit later on, we'll take you to Bridgeport, where some rockin' rappers had their fans on the run today.
What a year! And nobody needs a vacation more than your Hyundai dealer, but they can't go until their 87 Excels go. So it's summer break days. They're clearing out the 87 to make room for the 88s. Lots of cars, a full range of models priced under $7,000 and starting at just $5,420. Hurry down. There's never been a better time to buy a Hyundai because these guys can't hit the road until those 87 Excels do.
Test drive an Excel during summer break days at your nearest Connecticut Hyundai dealer.
For some of us, getting up from a chair is simple and easy. But for others, it's a painful, difficult task. Worst of all is the need to depend on friends or relatives for help. But there is an answer to this problem, and make note of this toll-free number. The answer is the famous cushion lift chair. Cushion lift has helped thousands of people regain their independence and self-reliance. With just a touch of a button, cushion lift brings you to your feet smoothly, gently, quietly. Then, when you're ready to sit down again, cushion lift lowers you as easily as it lifted you up. Why be dependent on others when cushion lift will help you get up whenever you want and enjoy the life you used to take for granted? For a free 12-page brochure, call this toll-free number and start enjoying your cushion lift chair today.
New improved Whisk. It's not just for collars.
It's for dirty skirts, filthy shirts, dusty socks, spattered smocks, messy tees, dungarees.
New improved Whisk. It gets out ring around the collar and gets your whole wash cleaner than ever. So,
for shorts so bright, tops this white, cleaner vests, Sunday best, and all the rest.
New Whisk for ring around the collar and a cleaner wash.
Here's a story about a report we can only hope is true. The Christian-controlled Voice of Lebanon radio station in Beirut has reported just in the past hour that American journalist Charles Glass, kidnapped on June 7th, has escaped from his captors. The report says that Glass walked into a West Beirut hotel and was immediately taken by Syrian troops to an undisclosed location. Beirut police say they can't confirm that report right now. Glass is a reporter on a leave of absence from ABC News.
One of Adolf Hitler's most fanatical followers, his deputy Führer Rudolf Hess, died today at the age of 93 in the West German prison where he spent almost half his life. Hess was sentenced to life in prison by the Nuremberg war crimes trial in 1946. He had been captured 5 years before after parachuting into Scotland on what he called a peace mission. Hess was the only inmate at Spandau prison in West Berlin, and though the U.S., France, and Britain agreed to consider his release, the Soviet Union refused, vowing to make Hess serve his life sentence as a Nazi war criminal.
After a 2,000-mile voyage through the Indian Ocean, the Guadalcanal and its mine-sweeping helicopters arrived in the Persian Gulf today. The U.S. helicopters immediately flew off on a practice mission, while 4 Kuwaiti tankers, now flying the U.S. flag, waited for protection before beginning their voyage through the Gulf. But there are many questions about the effectiveness of the U.S. effort. The helicopters fly low over the water, dragging equipment that presumably can detect mines, but they can be dragged down if they hit a heavy object, according to some experts, and they can quite easily miss mines.
Hard to explain why some people get motion sickness while others are spared, but tonight on our 60-second house call, Dr. Bob Lanier reports that it's a serious problem, but one that can be treated.
They say that one of the reasons that Lord Nelson was such a fierce fighter at sea was that was about the only way he could keep his mind off the malady seasickness. If you've never had it, you just can't understand the depth of misery people go through. Motion sickness just doesn't have to be that big a problem. It's frequently milder. The problem originates in the inner ear, where there's a set of half-circle fluid-filled tubes. The action of this fluid sends messages to your brain, sort of like a gyroscope. If the motion is too fast, you get all the liquid going in one direction. The messages get garbled and motion sickness results. The treatment is almost always preventative. You can use special over-the-counter antihistamine products or ask your doctor. Some of the new scopolamine patches can really help. The patches cost a little over $3. They're good for several days, and they're really effective. They aren't without side effects, though. Dry mouths and blurring vision are the result of the drug the Germans called true serum during World War II, scopolamine. Ask your family physician. I'm Dr. Bob Lanier.
Red Sox away from friendly Fenway, and it showed tonight against the White Sox. Mike Crispino with highlights coming up next.
Turkey. Wouldn't it be nice if you could make it any way you like? Like turkey parmesan, or southern fried turkey, or turkey scallopini. Well, now you can with turkey parts, fresh from the Shady Brook Farms. Moist, succulent fillets, thighs, breasts, perfect for dozens of different dishes. Now you can have turkey any way you like it with turkey parts, fresh from the Shady Brook Farms. It's about time.
I'm Deborah Norville. While you're sleeping, news is being made in Connecticut, the nation, and around the world. Now you can catch up on all the news you need early mornings right here on WVIT 30. Join me weekday mornings at 6:30 for NBC News at sunrise, followed at 7 by Today with Jane Pauley and Bryant Gumbel. At 7:25 and 8:25, Harlan Levy brings you up to date on the local news and weather with Connecticut News This Morning. Start your weekday mornings at 6:30 right here on WVIT 30, Connecticut's NBC station.
The winds of change are blowing at today's Chevrolet 88 Corsica, a new front-wheel drive sports sedan engineered to exacting standards and designed to give you years of trouble-free driving, all wrapped in the smoothest Chevrolet sedan ever built. Corsica. That's today's Chevrolet.
Ever since your post office invented express mail overnight delivery, others have tried to copy our eagle. But it's not so easy. Because express mail has overnight reliability that's close to perfect, the most convenient locations, and prices as low as $10.75. Most others charge you about twice that. So if you want a combination of low prices, convenience, and reliability no one can imitate, use the original express mail service from your post office.
Another drug scandal at the Pan American Games. This time, American hammer thrower and silver medalist Bill Green has been disqualified after testing positive for anabolic steroid testosterone, too much of it in his bloodstream. In 1983, 19 athletes from 10 nations were banished from the Games. Here in '87, Green is the 6th athlete from 5 nations now to be disqualified. He plans to protest it. Women's softball today, U.S. won, Canada nothing. Michelle Granger had a one-hitter in that and struck out 15. The Americans are still unbeaten. Red Sox are the worst road team in the American League, and they took the charity show to Chicago tonight, where even the White Sox can beat them. A guy named Thigpen and a bunch of other pitchers tonight against Boston, doing the job on them 2-1. Let's check it out. Here we go. I can feel it. There it is. Early. This is a fly ball. I tell you, it wasn't a very interesting game. A fly ball by Greg Walker in the 4th would score Harold Baines. A good throw by Ellis Burks makes it close, but you're never going to throw him out from that distance in the outfield. 1-0 Chicago is 2-0 Chicago in the 7th. Todd Benzinger with a ground ball. The play by Ozzie Guillen only to first. He couldn't go home. Sox scored Evans, but that was it. 2-1 was the final Chicago tonight. Now we go to the Twins, who keep fighting off all the challenges out west at home tonight against the Mariners. Tom Brunansky got it out of there in the first inning, a 2-run shot. I'll tell you, the ball flies out of there. He scored Gaetti, 3-0 Minnesota. Now we go to the 4th. Jim Presley, wow, did he unload on that. Another line shot just over the plexiglass. A lot of souvenirs in Minnesota, and the Twins go on to win at 4-2. They got a little worried later in the game. Twins fans are a bit strange. Milwaukee's Paul Molitor, a bunt single, now has hit in 32 straight games. That's the longest streak in major leagues since 1978 when Pete Rose went to 44. Texas leads Kansas City 5-1 in the 6th. The Mets are home for the next 9 games against Western teams. They open tomorrow with the Western leader Giants. The Astros below 500 out west, only 3 games behind San Francisco, though, so that gives you an indication of how balanced the West is, or how lousy it is. Glenn Davis, a big night for the Astros in the Houston Astrodome. Had a couple of big hits. This single in the 1st scored Bill Doran. Biggest hit of the day, Dale Murphy for the Braves. He slung the bat farther than he hit the ball. Davis again off the rookie Gavin. Tom Glavine did not have it tonight. The Braves being trounced by the Astros. 6-1 is the score. They're late in that game. Eastern League, Glens Falls and New Britain. No report tonight. They didn't call us. Patriots made a couple of moves today. First, they had Mike Ruth undergo arthroscopic examination for his injured left knee. He heard it yesterday. He's expected to miss 3 weeks. Then they acquired center Jim Romano from Houston. And the Giants returned to Pleasantville after their 2-point win over the Patriots yesterday. They opened the season September 14th in Chicago, where the Bears will be waiting to bruise them. And the Super Bowl champs are bracing themselves for a season of high expectations.
Since we were that team that got lucky, played well, and won everything, all of a sudden people might expect you to do things that, you know, aren't just common, meaning expect you to be super all the time. But, you know, that comes with it, and then we accept that challenge.
All right, Jets get a look at the $8 million man next Saturday when they travel to Tampa Bay to face Vinny Testaverde and the Buccaneers. The Jets won their first win against the Eagles on Saturday, but I'll tell you something, they're going to have to win a few to get the memory of last year's late regular season collapse out of their minds.
You can't erase anything from your memory, but like I said, we've come in with a different attitude this year. It's a new year. Every year is different. You never know what's going to happen. So you have to go out with an attitude that you're going to be the person in the Super Bowl.
Right now. And we'll have more reports on the Giants later this week as they get moving towards the regular season, only 3 weeks away.
Well, you know, they seem like they really understand the jinx about not repeating.
Well, I mean, you'd have to learn a lesson from the Bears. Everybody said the Bears were a shoo-in. They just disappear. The Giants don't want that to happen to them.
At some point, we want your predictions on the baseball pennant races. I mean, it's time, Mike.
Wait till September.
Not tonight, but soon. Okay, the heat and humidity are going to continue to cause problems for us. Brad Field will tell us all about it when we come back.
TJ Maxx. Over 10,000 brand name fashions arrive at TJ Maxx every week, so it's never the same place twice.
No, it's never, ever the same place twice. Yesterday, next week, next Saturday night, you get the Max for the minimum price. And it's never, ever the same. Never. Place twice. TJ Maxx.
Long drive, left field, way up and gone.
It's the Red Sox and the White Sox, Wednesday at 8 on WVIT.
Your Cadillac dream can come true at Stephen now. To sell 1,200 cars and trucks in 40 days, Stephen slashed prices on many, including Cadillacs, below factory invoice, 1.9 financing, 87 Eldorado, Sedan DeVille or Seville, 16.8 to 18.8, or payments of $258.15 or $295 and pennies. Original factory invoices were up to $30,000. Now is the time to step up to Cadillac. Stephen's World of Wheels, Route 6, Bristol.
If I was going to sell my wife, I'd have to say, buyer beware. This woman cannot stop talking, and she can barely stop complaining.
You don't do all the cleaning.
But when it's done,
you're never home.
No, he didn't say you're perfect. Trust me.
I bet you didn't either. Can't stop talking.
And she can barely.
And she can barely cook. She doesn't
all right, he said just one. Talking and barely cook. Yeah.
Weeknights at 7:30 on WVIT.
Last summer, we only had 5 days with the temperature at or over 90 degrees. This year, you got to multiply it by 4 practically, 19 days and counting this summer with the temperature at or above the 90-degree mark. 95 degrees this afternoon. We suffered and we didn't even break a record out of the deal. The record remains 96 degrees, set in 1913. Morning low temperature was not comfortable, not refreshing at all. Temperature this morning was 71. Current conditions, it's unbelievable for 11 o'clock. It's 80 degrees with a dew point higher than it is in southern Florida. Usually the dew point is in the mid-70s, very oppressive levels. Barometer is steady tonight and the winds are southwest at 6 miles per hour. Let's see what the weather observers report in terms of maximum temperature for today. That southwest wind kept it a little bit cooler down along the Sound, where temperatures were in the mid to upper 80s. New London, the coolest spot in all of Connecticut with a temperature 86, but as you work inland, away from the cooling effect of the ocean, temperatures rise. 93 degrees, the high temperature today in Putnam. And look at this, downtown Hartford with all the blacktop and pavement, temperature made it up to an unbearable 97 degrees with a very high humidity level. Satellite photograph shows that there's some really fine weather through the Central Plains and especially out toward the Rockies. We've got a little layer of clouds that will be coming across late tonight and the first thing tomorrow morning. Here's the close-up on it, showing basically fair weather still over southern New England. High humidity on this side of this front, but on the other side of the clouds, moderate humidity levels. So the humidity will be a little more tolerable tomorrow and the temperature's less hot, probably around 90 instead of 95. Now the high heat and humidity goes all the way up to northern New England. Burlington, Vermont today 95 degrees, Portland, Maine 97. Records set all the way down to Florida with the high humidity levels. But here comes the front and high pressure, so I'm looking for some improvement. Weak little storm system may give us some showers. but not until Wednesday night. So the next couple of days look okay. Maybe a light shower or a thunder shower as this weak front comes by tonight. Here's the forecast. Overnight, warm and humid weather. Temperature range of 70 to 75. Tomorrow, not half bad. Partly sunny, breezy and hot, but less humid. 90, giving it 6 on a scale of 10. Warm and dry weather tomorrow night with temperatures in the 60s. And Wednesday, partly sunny, warm and dry. Temperatures in the 80s and maybe a few cooling showers coming in Wednesday night. More on that tomorrow night.
19 days over 90, huh?
Isn't that
unbelievable?
Washington, D.C. weather.
That's right.
Right, the last 2 years, only each of the last 2 summers, only 5 days above 90. 19.
We've got to clarify our story about the power usage today, and the 18,000 megawatts record that we spoke about was for all of New England, not just Northeast Utilities. So we just wanted to clear that up.
Very good.
Okay.
Well, there's no way people can go to sleep with this story coming up. A popular rap group was chased out of Bridgeport today by its own fans. We'll tell you why next.
Big juicy blueberries bursting as they bake. Keebler makes new elfin loaves just like Mom used to make. Only smaller.
The Keebler elves bake real fruits, nuts, and spices into snacking-size elfin loaf snack breads, then wrap them and rush them fresh to your grocer's freezer.
Blueberry, banana, carrot, raisin, or a snack or a ripe.
New Keebler elfin loaves.
Just like Mom used to make. Only smaller.
Feeling good about the place you live, and we're sharing the feeling with you. Looking at life and all it's got to give. Glad we're seeing it clear. It's great to be here. Connecticut's NBC station, WVIT.
The new Hyundai Excels are rugged enough to take your family any place they want to go. With front-wheel drive and four-wheel independent suspension, they can turn a rough road into a smooth ride. They're reliable, too, with more standard features than any car in their class. And since you can get both Excels for less than the average price of a new car, it's now actually possible for one family to be in 2 places at once. Hyundai. Cars that make sense.
Hey, Pam. Hey, Pam.
What, Pumpkin?
The food at the El Rebote is fabulous.
Berenson's Hartford Highlight, performances nightly, Tuesday through Saturday at 6:45, Sunday matinee at 1.
Finally tonight, the rock and rap group known as Run DMC came to Bridgeport today to visit with some of their Connecticut fans. But as John Sablone reports tonight, the visit was a quick one.
Their entrance? Grand. How else would the Sultans of Rap come in from New York for a personal appearance at Bridgeport's Hi-Ho Center? Their arrival, long awaited by thousands. What else for the exalted exponents of that boppy musical palaver known as rap, the stars of the rap movie Crush Groove.
Not DJ Runs, my name. Jam Master Jay is his. He's DMC. It's like that, and that's the way it is.
Of course, people in some parts of the country look at Run DMC with a jaundiced eye. Some of their concerts have been followed by rioting and rampaging by teenagers. Others say that is a bum rap. The Adidas company has gone so far as to use the group in a sneaker commercial. Today, Run DMC was brought in by a sporting goods store and the shopping mall.
This promotion came on us fast. We only had a week to plan it, and we said, let's do it anyway.
Basic reason is?
Public relations, community relations, make our customers happy.
Little bit of money in there.
Sure, that's what we're in business for.
And business in the sponsoring sports store was brisk. Many people buying things in hopes of being there when Run DMC came in.
It's bedlam outside. It's bedlam in here.
You want bedlam? You've got it. Run DMC started walking toward the table where they were supposed to give autographs. The crowd took care of the rest. Luckily, no injuries resulted from the commotion, but there were no autographs given out. And Run DMC, they ran. See the crowd running after Run DMC. They never caught them. Run DMC's exit was less grand than their entrance, but exit quickly they did. Back to New York for a concert tonight. John Sablon, Connecticut News Tonight.
Unbelievable.
You think that many people will turn out in the election down there tomorrow?
That's true. Good point. Tomorrow in the 4th Congressional District, polls are open between noon and 8 for the special election to fill Congressman McKinney's seat. Christine Niedermeyer, Christopher Shays, and we hope you get out and vote tomorrow.
That is Connecticut News Tonight. Thanks for being with us. I'm Toby Muffin.
I'm Joanne Nesty. The Tonight Show's coming up next, followed by Late Night with David Letterman, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 6. Good night.